Okay, welcome to week 2, Forging a Path in 5537, choosing a work group. Bob Prue, your instructor in the online section, talking to you. Start with thinking about the size of your group. A good working group for this size of a project with this kind of a time frame to it would be 3 to 5. Please don't go over 5, and if you go under 5, under 3, make a good rationale for it. Some of you like to work by yourselves. Again, you'll need a pretty strong rationale for working alone. Maybe you live at a great distance from everybody. Maybe you're working very odd hours and know that you won't have the likelihood of being able to connect on a regular basis with other group members. But don't do it just because you're a lone wolf. Part of the learning in this course is learning how to do research projects in a group. Because when you go to work in a social services agency and they ask you to research or evaluate something, they may assign you a group of other people to work with. So think about that. So base your composition of your group on something other than social reasons. Yes, you will want to be able to communicate with one another, and you'll want to do it on a regular basis. And you'll want to consider things like distance and your comfort with distance communication. But whether or not you like or dislike the person should not be a strong consideration. Now, if you have a real active problem with somebody, maybe you shouldn't work with them. But you know, if you have a real strong problem with somebody, maybe you should work it out with them as well. A good rationale for being in the same group is that you have similar practicum sites or workplace sites, or maybe you're at the same practicum site. A good rationale for being on your own could be, I'm in an odd or unique practicum site, and I am concerned that it isn't going to work out well for me. But that's neither here nor there. But really, you ought to be able to work with another student irregardless of the similarity in workplace or practicum sites. So you'll be analyzing data from the Assessment of Organizational Cultural Competence Survey. That hasn't been administered yet. That'll be your task for this semester. Now, this is a survey consisting of about 30 questions, plus some demographic questions that we will be adding. So everybody in 5537 will be collecting data from their agencies. So that'll be, between 50 and 150 final surveys that are completed. That means we're collecting data from Saturday section, from the online section, and also from the Tuesday section. So this assessment of organizational cultural competence was developed by the Association of University Centers on Disabilities and put out there for public use in 2004. It is a basic organizational survey. I'm sure there's better ones. I'm sure there's ones that aren't nearly as well put together as this one. In addition to the main survey, we also have a individual and agency demographic survey that we want you to use to gather some additional information. So that was developed by Beth O'Neill, who's an MSW from '07 right here at UMKC. She's also a PhD candidate, soon to be employed as an assistant professor at Washburn University in Topeka. So congratulations, Beth. We'll miss you. She's been teaching research for us for 3 years, I guess, and we'll miss her. But we're really happy for her new position. Now, your final assignment is going to be based on the survey, as well as your literature review assignment. So don't put off forming your group and getting to know this survey. This survey will be the main and perhaps only source of data for your research. For you research. Typo, Bob. Do not overwork the final assignment. Don't think you have to go out and create a whole new survey. This is not about creating a survey. This is about using existing data. And so keep it simple. Remember that the point of this course is to learn or to demonstrate basic competence with research methods in a social services agency setting. Quite often, when you are asked to do some basic analysis of data in an agency, you're just simply handed a data set and say, here, can you make some sense out of this survey that we did at the annual consumer conference last fall? And you're going to go, huh? So you have to get to know the data through the survey. So let's go to the survey, which is located in the assignments folder under written assignments in the final assignments folder. So let me pull up Blackboard. Here's my Blackboard site. Yours might look a little bit different. I'll turn it into student preview. Maybe it will look more similar that way. Come down here to assignments folder. Come down here to written assignments. And then to the final assignments. And you'll see the folder, the files right here. You'll also see where you upload your final research report and a place where you upload your PowerPoint presentation or provide a link. But sticking with the two things that we're talking about today, you can get those here. So you see there's the cultural competency assessment in PDF form. There's the same thing also in a Microsoft Word. I had converted it from PDF to Word, so you might want to check it to make sure that it copied clean. I did a little bit of overview, but multiple eyes sometimes are helpful. So you might want to look at it to make sure that it's correct in the sense that it matches the cultural competency assessment original. And then here's the form that Beth O'Neill provided us. So let me pull up those two items in Microsoft Word. We'll just start with the simple one first. So there's the individual and agency demographics survey, which asks some basic questions about gender, age, identity of one's race, educational level, whether or not they have a social work degree, and if they have a social work degree, what is their highest level of education as a social worker. How long have they been employed in their current workplace? Their major work function in the agency, some information about the agency, how many employees, what type of social work practice or population do they work with? Are they a private, public, nonprofit, and where are they located? And so those are the basic questions, and we'll keep with those. In the other one, cultural competence assessment, we have some description about how this instrument came together. Read that carefully. You have some demographic types of questions here that are going to be a little redundant with the other survey. I'm not interested in these particular questions, so what I would suggest you do is cut this section out, paste in the other survey, and then create one sheet. So the survey asks some questions about the organization as it relates to cultural competence. It asks some questions about administration as it relates to cultural competence. It asks some questions about clinical services, again, as it relates to cultural competence. Any research and program evaluation that the agency might have, again, as it relates to cultural competence. Technical assistance and consultation, again, as it relates to cultural competence. Education and training, and then finally, community and continuing education as it relates to cultural competence. And then we have some information about the respondent. Again, there is some data that is qualitative that we want them to fill out, but then there's some more information that is demographic in nature. So again, you will have already gathered that. So I would suggest just getting rid of it. I mean, it does have a question about disabilities that is not on the other one, so you might want to keep that. But so yes, go ahead and keep that one. These ethnicity statements are redundant to the earlier one. And then finally, there's an individual's self-assessment of cultural competence. And there's 11 items there. Now you notice that most of these questions are going to be, in this one's in what's called a Likert style, where it's almost always, often, sometimes, almost never. So it goes from most, second most, third most to least in order. So it's an ordinal variable. The only true numbers that we're going to get in this entire survey are going to be the ones that are found on the demographic piece, where we're asking a person's age and how long they've been employed at their current place of work. So this is going to be a lot of yes, no, or categorical type of variables. And you go, gosh, this is quantitative research. Show me some numbers. It's like, well, it would be nice if they had developed a lot of numbers, but in a lot of ways, numbers are actually easier to work with than category variables. and this is what you see a lot in the way agencies collect data. People tend to just fit into a category. They're either this or they're that, or they're a range of one of these things. So this will be a lot like what we see in real agencies. So anyway, that'll be the thing to do for this week, is to send me a list of who are the 3 to 5 members of your group, and what I will do is I'll go into Blackboard and I'll set you up as a group, and that way when I want to email the group, I can just go in and email the group. The group will then also have access to an online wiki page, or an online discussion board, or a place to share files, those sorts of things. Plus there's all the other ways that one can do it through Google Plus or Google Hangouts, that sort of stuff. All right, that's all for today.